Hey everybody, welcome to our Earth Lumens campaign. I am your host, Juan. I'm kidding. Our DM's up there. I'm just a player. Well, we had a very fun adventure last week. A lot of fighting, talking, dirt sniffing, and even an emotional breakup. But unfortunately, we have to come to terms that we don't really like each other that much, and we have to go forward from it. I'm Marcel. I play a Hexfleet Warlock. There's Kieran, the Rogue. Rosarius. He doesn't deserve introduction. What are you, Rosarius? Hurry up.
I'm a half-elf paladin.
Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Shy. Okay, skipping you. You're not going to say anything.
Wait, did you call me?
Yes.
I couldn't hear you. Rosari's was talking over you.
Was.
I know,
What?
I know. See, me, I am a full elf, wood elf, druid. There you go.
Cool. Gwen, your turn. What are you?
I'm a Dragonborn Ranger.
Awesome. And last but totally not least, Leo. I know what you're doing.
I am I'm a half-orc cleric. That's what I am.
Woo! And we're all here today to learn something new.
I don't think we're going to learn much. I think we're going to
Oh.
slowly hate each other even more.
I love education.
Great. I don't. I'm kidding.
Oh.
If any of my students watch this, I love you dearly. Anyway. Yeah, great job, Juan. We got most of the party here. Hopefully Lucian will be joining us shortly, but he has been... Hello, Lazarus Chain. He has been in his room studying alone. But last session, things got a little tense within the party. We went off on a little mission, and in that mission, the leadership of some of the people started to falter. People kind of started to disagree with each other, and then it got really weird whenever we jumped into a combat and Athera wild shaped into a wolf, and Gwen did not like that and threatened to shoot her with an arrow. And during that same adventure, Kieran had a poem written for a friend of Rosari's, and Rosari's did not like it and made it very clear that if he looks or speaks of Kata the wrong way, there will be severe consequences. So tensions are on the rise, already pretty high. But life goes on. The next thing that really happens for you guys, you all go back to your rooms. The night passes. You spend some of that time alone. You wake up the next morning. Some of you pretty early. I'm assuming some of you sleep in, Marcel. And no matter where you are or what you were doing, when you wake up, there is a vibe about campus that is completely different. It is filled with energy and laughter and cheer as you guys walk out of your room and see a lot of new faces. Right as you were finally getting to memorize some of the people on campus, you could recognize faces, you knew a couple names. There's so many more now because the upperclassmen are on campus. You see some of these like taller, stronger, older students walking around. They're hugging each other, giving each other handshakes, saying they've missed each other. They're laughing, joking, going to get drinks together. It's busy. Campus feels full. And I don't want to say chaotic, but I do want to say that it is a lot to take in as all of these upperclassmen are going about doing their thing. Sunday Solara, or no, it's, I don't know my days of the week for my own world. Zach, you typically correct me on these types of things, either one of you. It's Mardum, that's what it is. Okay, days of the week. Let's run through them really quick because I confused myself. Starting with Monday, we have Solara, and then Terram, Lunam, Stellum, Magum is Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday are Sanum and Mardum. obviously all Latin-based, because who doesn't like to be a little pretentious? So that martyrdom comes and passes pretty chaotically. Even if there are things that you guys are doing in character, the general campus is just so awash with the upperclassmen dominating everything that you are sort of shoved to the sidelines. But so Lara comes, classes have started, you guys go about your classes, you're given some homework assignments, and towards the ending of the day in the afternoon, right before dinner, you guys go to your first actual homeroom class. And you originally were going to Professor Corinth, but as each of you arrived there, she sort of walks up to you as you come into the classroom and lets you know, like, oh, hey, I hate to tell you, I was so excited to have you in class, but Professor Ranth and I actually decided that your group is going to switch. A lot of reasons going into it, but I'll let you guys go and talk to her if you want to know about it. So each of you are directed down to Rorsch Plaza, where her class meets. You all get together, and some other familiar faces are there. I'll just list them out really quick for anybody who wants to know. The first group that is sort of talking to each other are Kada, Beatrice, Cilia, Sivik, Denny, and Thatch. And then there's also another group that's sort of half meshed with them. They're sort of, all sitting across this classroom down in Rorsch Plaza of Barry, Lasilda, Talon, Delphina, Balon, Leofric, and Simon. Some of these you might recognize, some of these you might not. It's fine. But the main thing that happens is you guys are all gathered up and essentially forced into the same classroom together. I'll let you guys describe how that scene looks. Do you purposefully sit away from each other? Do you sit together? What's the vibe like in the classroom as you guys walk in? And Professor Ranth sort of half happily waves to you guys.
I sit as far away from Aetherius as possible.
The same. So I feel like I walk in and I look over to see if she's looking and scoping me out as well.
I am.
I catch her eye and then intentionally go to one side of the room and sit in the back.
I'll sit in the front on the other side. So
Marcel will sit in the middle.
Marcel, dead in the middle, right with all of the people surrounding him. Some of the people that you recognize are just like, oh, hey, what's up, Marcel? How's it going? But you file in. Say hi to everybody.
I'm gonna take the open seat next to Kada for no specific reason.
I'm gonna go sit next to Marcel.
Oh yeah, fist bump.
Fist bump.
Sure. And I believe that is everyone sort of spread around this class. Wait, did Kieran say how he was doing here?
Kieran's kind of... No one really notices him. He kind of shadows his way in, sits on the end of the table, away from everyone. But,
Sure.
Within sight of me.
Yeah, so I guess you're more towards the back of the classroom, kind of, you walked in quietly, you didn't make, an entrance or anything, whereas everybody else, it's a small class, there's only, 15 of you in here. So it's not, I guess it's a little bit more than 15, but it's pretty obvious when someone comes in, you sort of sneak your way in and sit at the back of the class. Professor Ranth, and I will pull up her, her picture here, just to make sure Juan pays attention. She, once she sees everybody in here, starts going through a list of names, and she reads out everybody's names that I've already said, checks them all off, makes sure everybody's here, sets it off to the side, and she says, right, well, hey, welcome back, everybody. I got some new faces in here. She gestures around the room to you guys, who are all sort of at different areas, I guess. And she says, it's not very common for us to sort of switch things up, but we had a lot of, monks in one of our groups, and Professor Corinth and I thought it would be better to swap some things around, as she is a monk professor, and it just worked out for the better. But I'm sure you guys all somewhat recognize each other. Everything should be fine. Let's go ahead and get started with my stuff for today. First thing, how's everybody doing in classes? Anybody overwhelmed already? You see a couple people look around and they're chatting to each other just no, classes were fun. I really liked it. I loved it. You guys all good? She looks around to y'all's group, gives a thumbs up just to check.
I'm doing great, Professor Ranth.
Hi, Marcel.
Hi, Professor.
Cool. That's enough interaction for one day.
Oh.
Well, I guess let's go ahead and go over the news for you guys. I got some stuff that you might be happy to hear. First things first, we do have our new party assignments other than our group of, scavenger hunt winners here. The rest of you, I will give you your assignments toward the end of class, but just know that your personal preferences for who to work with were taken into heavy account, but there were some people switched around just for the sake of effectiveness for the parties. And if you guys want to switch, I will let you know that next semester you have the freedom to completely change your parties. You can make them smaller. They're not required to be as big as they are now. You can pick whoever you want to work with next semester. But, next bullet point, upperclassmen are back on campus. Say hi to them, meet some people, make friends, talk to your upperclassmen, whatever your class is, talk to some of the higher ups there and see if you can't make any connections. The biggest thing that I want to go over is party games. I know a couple of you, and she looks around and points at like Cilia and like Sivik and Denny, and she's like, I know a couple of you already know a little bit about party games. I know we're all very excited for it, but for those of us who don't know, let me explain. For the next couple of weeks, every weekend, because first semester students are not sent out on actual missions, you guys will be facing a series of challenges made by me as your homeroom teacher, along with some of the other professors and some of the third years who are volunteering to help. Each weekend, you will face one of these challenges, attempt to complete it, and they're going to help develop you guys as a party to sort of hone your skills and make sure that you guys can work together well and effectively handle challenges and things like that. And the culmination of this, the final week of Loris this month, in about 3 weeks' time, the parties from the 2 homeroom classes for first years that are doing the best and succeeding at the challenges are going to go through a sort of mock battle system where Coach Etrelval is going to have you guys spar against one another for the entire school to watch. If you do not want to do that, don't shirk on the challenges because you can always opt out, but it is highly encouraged. We're probably still going to do, sparring matches anyway, but this one is a big show. All of the upperclassmen watch. The professors will come to take notes, and they'll even reference you guys in classes, maybe. It's a big thing. It's very, very fun. Does anyone have any questions about that? I know that's kind of a lot of information.
Where do I sign up? Yeah! He's like, Marcel's all pumped up about the party games.
You yell that out, and you're like, where do I sign up? And Professor Ranth just looks at you, and she says, I just told you it's mandatory.
I know. Where do I sign up right now? I want to go. I want to do it right now. Come on.
No. End of the week, buddy.
Points to Rosarius. Me and you.
Anyway, this Magum will be your first challenge. Because the normal school schedule is we'll have our homeroom classes on Magum. So to replace that, we're doing the first couple of weeks with homeroom classes on Solara, and then your challenges will be on Magum. And to translate that for non-nerds, that is homeroom class on Monday, challenges on Friday. She says, okay, I would say great question, but it really wasn't. Anyone else? Someone else in the class raises their hand. You guys look over and see Sivik, the kid with wavy blonde hair and a chiseled face. He reaches his hand up and he says, yeah, hey, Professor Ranth, so question, you said that those teams from the first year parties will compete against each other. Is it like our homeroom versus the other homeroom, or could it be our party and another party? And she's like, actually, yeah, great question. It could be any of them. If 2 of our groups in here are just doing substantially better, then yeah, it'll just be you guys for the sparring match. Sivik kind of nods his head, leans back a little bit, and he looks at Kata, and he's like, hey, we should make it like our party and your friend's party. Kata just nods her head and looks at Rosaris, and she's like, I think we should do that. That'd be fun. Professor Rance continues. She says, all right. Well, if you guys have any more questions, I will be here all week, as I'm required to. But I do have a sort of homework assignment. I want all of you guys, without knowing what your challenge is going to be for the next upcoming weekend, to talk to your party, strategize, figure out what could our challenge be, what are our weaknesses, and how can we prepare for that. Because that's an important part of working with other people. Anyway, let's get out of here. The parties are on the board. I've already sort of referenced them. Go be free, go across campus, and do your things for the week. See you guys on Magum. And she waves you guys out. A lot of people stand up and start to exit the class. Did you guys catch anybody? Do you talk to anybody as the week starts? Or are you going straight to your room?
Marcel will try to grab Rosarius.
Sure. As you guys are heading out, there's only one door to this classroom. You sort of catch Rosarius at the door. Do you guys start talking?
Rosarius!
Yes, Marcel. How can I help you?
We need to strategize. We need to be together. We need to gather everyone up in the same group.
Then you do that.
But I need your help.
How would I help?
Easy. By being the study group. I can't just have not you, because you're really good at front lines. We need to talk this through, strategize stuff.
Okay.
I can't just have a person who's supposed to how they understand how to fight. They're not even in the group to talk about it.
Yes, I understand. I'll be part of the study group.
Thank you.
I may not enjoy the party, but I would rather us work well together if we have to.
Yes, it's really good. We all work together, like friends. it's like
Party
slowly,
members. Party members, perhaps.
I'll work on that.
You do that. When are you wanting to do this? What is the plan?
Well, see, I'm thinking of first making beyond that. I think maybe in a couple days, something for all a little bit more free. Maybe 2 days.
DM,
have a little. We got
DM,
heck. We go over my dorm. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, DM. You said this is taking place on whatever Monday would be, rather than our Friday, right?
Yeah.
It is currently Monday. The challenge is going to take place on Friday. So, I mean, we can just use real world days because there's 7 days in the week. It's the same thing.
Yeah. That's why I stick with 2 days. Like, I don't really
Just to let everyone know, I made original days of the week. We're just not using them because it's confusing. I put in the work.
I can memorize it if you want to, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, sure, Marcel. We can. Tell me a time and a place, I'll be there.
All right. See you, man.
I'll see you.
All right.
I'm gone. I'm just leaving with the crowd of people leaving.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna wait till the crowd is gone and then quietly leave.
That's what I was gonna say.
Do it, girl,
I love that. You both wait for the crowd to leave, and as the crowd disperses, you see that you're the only two left sitting in the room, and then you awkwardly
hell
look
no.
at each other. Who moves to get up first?
Awkward staring.
I'll get up first.
I'll get up at the same time.
Prolonged eye contact.
And I'm actually closer to the door, right? Because I'm in the back.
Yeah, you're closer to the door.
Actually,
I'll
I'm gonna
walk
make
out.
this even more awkward.
Oh.
You guys look around, and Lucian is also in the back behind Gwen, just like still writing and reading. And then Professor Rant looks up at you guys, and she looks at all three of you. She goes, "Why are you guys still here? Get out of my class." Like, go.
Yeah, sorry. And
Yep.
out the door.
Bye. She waves you guys out. The three of you get up. Lucian didn't even realize that class had ended. He wasn't paying attention. He was in his books, and he heads out with you guys. With that being said, The rest of the week is going to fly by. You guys are in a whirlwind of going to class, doing homework assignments, meeting upperclassmen potentially. I think the main objective here is just surviving for a week. It's your first week in this crazy class setting. Let's just go down the list and talk about what you guys are doing. I kind of want to leave this up to a die roll, but just to save time, I'm just going to randomly pick. What is Rosari's doing for the couple of days before the challenge?
He's probably gonna spend most of his time training in the West Wing, in the training hall, and then he's also gonna try to find enough martial characters who have like weapons, armor that need to be cleaned, and I'm gonna offer like a cleaning service type of thing for their weapons.
Sure.
And then other than that, I'll probably, again, most of the time is spent training, but then the remainder of the time would probably be Kata dragging me around, forcing me to interact with people outside of like the training hall.
I like it. Next up, let's do Athera.
So I'm gonna be practicing wild shape a lot. I'm gonna go out into like the gardens or the woods, wherever there's not a lot of people. Just practicing that. Also, starting a little herb garden in my room for my teas. Sort of like some mint and chamomile are starting in little pots. And then I am gonna try and track down some information on that club that Professor Mineo talked about. Not sure if there's anything hanging around that would give me more info, but I'm gonna try find out more about it.
Mm-hmm. With that being said, let's go to our next one. Marcel, how are you doing?
Marcel is actually trying to do a couple things. One, he was trying to do some back and forths with Rosaris and maybe anyone he can gather to do some strategizing. But on his own, he's right now speaking to a bunch of bards, asking some team building ideas, and like, come on, guys, you guys specialize in manipulating people's minds and help me. I want our group to work together. Does he see any of in particular students who are like, tossing him a bone?
I'll say that you walk around sort of just the bard classes right after they end. You try to find some people who look like they might be helpful. You recognize two people, and I'm gonna let you decide who you want to go to. One of them is a very semi-familiar face, which is a weird phrase to say. But you would know her as Kata, the friend of Rosari's. She hangs around the bard stuff. As she's walking out of one of these classes, she waves bye to her friend Barry, who heads off, who you know to be like, she seems a little more shy. That might not be your best bet there. The other person who walks out of one of these classes would be Sivik.
No.
Both of which you've sort of seen, maybe not interacted with a ton, but you see both of them coming out of these bard classes. Not necessarily together. They're, completely separated in this, but who would you go to talk to?
He thinks for a bit. How about Sivik? I never really seen him that much. Sivik!
You walk up to Sivik and you approach him and he's just like, oh, hey, you're, Marcius?
Close enough. It's Marcel.
Marcel. I'll remember. I promise. What's up,
Don't
dude?
worry. Well, see, here's the thing. I got the best party ever. Like, everyone is just, great. I love them all.
Sure.
But the problem is, they hate each other. Okay, some of them hate each other. Some are just very disinterested. Honestly, I don't know how we all got together in the first place. We're kind of forced to. Long story. Doesn't matter. Now, the main thing is, how can I get them together? Like, I could see the potential here. We could be really great.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. So
it's just...
I think
heck, the wizard, our wizard guy, he's not even here. I couldn't even find him.
I think I know how to fix your problem. Come with me. And
Is it alcohol?
No. With a question mark? Anyway, listen. I have an idea for you. and you guys begin to walk off, and he is going to begin explaining to you what he believes the best solution will be, which I'm going to send to you in a private message. So you look for the team building exercises. We'll definitely find that. What else do you spend some of your days doing? Because he's going to... I think you guys are planning to meet up either the day before or halfway through the week.
And Marcel also is going to use some of the money he has to buy some equipment to make his own brew, like his own alcohol. And he's going to call it, like an ant keg, like the creature we killed. He's going to make his own brew called Ant Keg. So it's like, oh, there we go. Ant Keg Breweries.
You begin working on that. You get some of the materials, and you spend a pretty penny on this, like at least a couple gold, if not more.
Yeah.
You get like the materials, and then you're looking at it like hands on your hips in your room. You like paid to have someone carve the name into a wooden sign, and you're like, all right, now I just got to figure out how to make booze.
Well, I mean, he is proficient.
Oh. All right, yeah. So I'll let you start messing with that. We'll give that some time. Let's go with the next person, which would be Gwen.
She's gonna spend the majority of her time probably training at the archery range and also tracking, like in the woods, different kinds of animals. And then in like more of her, like, I guess, social time, she would either hang out with like Beatrice's friend group or with Delphina, maybe figure out the squirrel problem she has. And she would also be practicing her fletching and maybe offering services for other archers.
Word.
That
Absolutely.
may want that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we got those. We will delve into that here in a second. Lucian is not here right now, but I'll let you guys know. It seems like he is just like overboard in his studies. The wizarding department, you get the vibe that it is very strict. It's a lot more rigorous than some of the other departments. They have the most amount of required classes. They have the most amount of homework, most amount of practice that they have to do and stuff like that. So he is relatively absent for at least the beginning of the week. But your best assumption is that he is studying. He does not care that much to like interact with you guys. You might see him around campus walking from one place to the next, but he just gives like a semi-polite wave and then continues on. What about Leo though?
Leo, he's probably going to be keeping to himself most of the time, studying in his room, unless he goes outside to say a prayer or anything like that. But he's just in his room studying, practicing.
Sure.
All his healing magics and learning some anatomy, that type of thing.
I got you. What about Kieran?
Kieran has a nice little list. He's been mostly basically trying to learn some more fencing skills and a combat class, refining his poetry skills, and trying to find a good time to find Kata when Rosarius isn't nearby. He's also trying to refine his weed selling business and find some more black market connections within the rogues in the area. You know, just get comfy and feel like he's at home.
Sure, yeah. I like it. Let's start tackling some of these and see how these go. So, towards the beginning of the week, Rosaris, you're obviously training a lot. That goes without saying. You are also attempting to find someone, at least to start, like offering your services to clean their weapons and armor, or to potentially have like a little business setup going. What's your strategy with that? Like, where do you start? Who do you try to talk to for both of those things?
I think it's going to be like using my time in the training hall. I'm going to try to find a few people to train with. And then while I do that, try to find maybe an upperclassman that might know a lot of the other people on campus that is also like comes in and out of the training hall. And they're it looks like they're just busy, especially upperclassmen. I'm assuming they have a lot more missions. So like maybe they don't have as much time to like clean their gear and take care of it as much.
Yeah. So you start the week. You go into the training hall. You have sparred with Beatrice once. Like you guys had a really good training session the other day, going back and forth, and that was very, very nice and productive. She catches you in there again, and she sees you as you walk in, as she's like hitting a training dummy, and she calls you over. And she's like, "Hey, Rosaris, quick question. So, you know that homework that we had from Tarada?
Yeah.
Do you want to do that together? We have to like, injure each other and then heal each other with our lay on hands. We're practicing that. I didn't want to do that to myself. That felt kind of weird. And we sparred together last time, so I figured, why not?
Yeah. Maybe this time you'll actually have to injure me in order to use your lay on hands, though.
Okay, buddy, we're starting. You guys get into place and you guys spar together for a while. As you guys are sparring, you sort of keep an eye out for the other people who walk in. There are definitely a couple of unfamiliar faces, some upperclassmen that catch your eye. And then if you want to attempt to talk to any of them after you and Beatrice finish sparring, you could absolutely do that. Or you can just sort of tuck that away in your brain and save it for later. But you see a couple people who you're like, they're wearing armor, they have weapons, like I could offer my services to them.
Yeah, I'll go up to the one that looks like the most social out of the however many.
Sure. You, after
I'm gonna
eyeing all
regret
these
saying
people,
that, aren't I?
No. As you are finishing up sparring with Beatrice, she's like panting and sweating, and you guys are like covered in like these bruises and injuries as your weapons are just tossed to the side. You look over and you see one of the people who walked in like chatting with some friends. They, trained a little bit and worked out together. They sparred for a while, and like he barely broke a sweat, but he's like laughing and talking to them. You walk up to him. He is a sort of like a taller, very athletic looking purple tiefling. He's got like the broad shoulders. He's pretty muscular. He's got wavy dark hair going back. You walk up to him and he barely even notices you walk up, talking to like a couple of his friends, and he looks over and he just goes, "Hey, first year?"
Yes, I am. My name's Rosaris, and I stick out my hand.
He shakes your hand, looks you in the eye, and he says, "Taz, nice to meet you."
I was wondering if I might get a chance to spar with you. You seem like you were doing really well, so I was wanting to see how well I could do against you.
Yeah, if you want me to take it easy on you.
Go 50%. We'll start there.
Sure. He reaches down and picks up a long sword off of the ground, and you guys walk out into the sort of center of the area. And he looks at you and says, "All right, I'll let you go first. Let's see what you got."
Am I actually rolling?
Yeah, let's roll an attack roll to see how you do.
Here, and go away before I roll this. Let's see how this goes. That is a 19 plus 5, so 24.
24. Yeah, you guys start sparring a little bit, and surprisingly, you told him to go 50%, and that worked. Like, you guys are sort of going back and forth, and you're holding your own. He's given you a couple of, like, relatively easy to block hits, and you manage to catch them all as this is happening. And he's talking to you the whole time. He's just like, "So, Rosaris, where are you from? Who you know? What brought you to UL-6, the greatest place on Earth?"
And I'm just like panting, trying to like catch up with him. Like, I'm just from a small village. I know my other first year Kata. I don't know anyone else, and I'm just hoping to get better.
As you guys are talking, he gets a couple of hits in as you're going. He's like, "Cool, I like it." You guys pause for a second, and he backs up as he's like driven you back 10 feet, and you guys sort of recenter, and he says, "All right, you asked to spar. What do you need to work on?"
Probably I need to be able to read my opponent's movements. I'm thinking through it too much rather than feeling it.
He smirks a little bit and he says, perfect. He waits defensively for you to attack and sort of nods his head at you.
I don't like where this is going, but I'll sort of like slowly approach and then try to do a fast attack on him.
You try to do a fast attack. Give me another attack roll. We'll see how this goes.
That is an 11 that time.
You go to attack, and as you approach, a sphere of darkness just engulfs you two as you just cannot see at all. And then from behind you, you feel a sword like pop up in front of your neck, and he sort of like grabs you by the back of the armor and slowly pulls you out of the darkness and then lets it dispel.
I just sort of hold my sword out, like acting as if I would drop it, like showing, okay, I lose.
Yeah, he lets you go, gives you a nice gentle push, and he says, well, you're going to have to practice a lot more than that, but you're not off to a terrible start.
I appreciate that. I did want to run something else by you.
Sure, he says. He's like starting to take off little bits of his armor, assuming you guys are done.
I was thinking about starting up maybe a small business of just, I enjoy smithing, so I was wanting to make some money to start that, but in order to do that, I need some money now, and I was wondering if you knew if people needed help cleaning their armor, sharpening their weapons, polishing their armor, anything like that.
He looks down at the like training sword that he's using for in here, definitely not his own. Sort of sets it on the ground. He says, I mean, you could always talk to Trollval about sharpening these, but he looks at his armor. Like, you did not touch his chest or his shoulders, but he takes off his left bracer that he used to block a lot of your hits with, and he tosses it at you, and he says, I'll tell you what, you clean that up, bring that back to me, we'll see how you do, and then if it's good, I'll come back to you. And if
Yes,
it's
sir.
great, I'll let other people know.
Yes, sir. I'll bring it back to you.
He pats you on the shoulder, smiles at you, and he says, don't call me sir. I'm not that old. And then he leaves off to go pick up his friend who was sitting there waiting for him, like sweaty and leaning against the wall. And they exit the building. For the next couple days, I'm assuming you clean that up. You spar a little bit more with Beatrice. You maybe do some homework. All of that fun stuff. To go ahead and switch on up to Aethera. You are out wild shaping away from campus, right?
Yep.
Fantastic. So I'm going to say we go back out to Rorsch Plaza in that foresty area where you guys had just tracked this Ankheg and the boar. You're sort of in that area practicing some wild shape. What does that look like for Aethera? What is she thinking about and doing that she needs practice with?
So I'm gonna be trying different forms. I'll do like a squirrel. I'll try to do like a dove and fly and realize that this is a whole lot harder than a squirrel for some reason. And basically just trying to feel it out, get used to the transformation. Kind of that fight kind of made me realize hey, this actually might be something that would be really useful to just have on command that makes it really easy to transition in a combat scenario. So I'm just trying out. I definitely do the direwolf a couple times. Try using some of its senses a little bit more, getting used to the better smell, getting used to the speed, probably batter up a couple trees to see how the claws and everything react, that kind of thing.
Absolutely, yeah. You go out and you start practicing these transitions, which you feel are coming a lot faster and easier. It's not like they were ever super painful, but it just felt awkward, like your body shifting and morphing around. But you're getting to the point where it's almost not instantaneous, but it's very, very quick. It feels much more natural the more that you do it. So you practice with this wolf form a lot that you like. and you're practicing like using its senses, tracking. Wolves use their scent a lot. That's kind of their big thing. I'm gonna say go ahead and give me a survival check with advantage to see, like if you can pick up on anything in the woods that you're using this wolf senses for.
Cool. So it'd be 23. And that was a nat 20.
Ooh, baby.
Ooh.
You pick up on a trail. There's a couple different animals out here in the woods, but you pick up on one that for some reason just feels almost more familiar to you. You sniff it out for a while, and you end up getting pretty close back to campus, like just outside of one of the walls, and you sniff up a tree, and you see that, like, as you slowly approach, there was a squirrel that had scurried up the tree and is looking down at you, and then throws an acorn down and, like, hits you on the head.
I am going to wild shape, I guess reverse wild shape back into my human form.
Squirrel, like, scurries up into the branches.
We're like, wait.
You see a little head poke out behind some leaves.
I'm gonna reach down and grab the nut that it threw at me and like kind of like hold it back up towards him. Don't you want this back?
It scurries down a little bit, looks at you, clearly eyeing you, runs down half of the tree, like almost like eye level, and is reaching out for the acorn.
I'm gonna wild shape into a squirrel while I'm holding it.
You wild shape into a squirrel onto the ground, holding this acorn that is now, kind of big. And then the squirrel runs down the tree, walks up to you, takes the acorn from you, and just like scowls at you. And then it starts like looking at you and like poking you in the body, checking you out. It looks at your tail and like sticks the acorn in its mouth, like checks out your tail, pulls on your ears a little bit.
Oh.
It kind of like taps you on the head and steps back. Can you speak the animal's language whenever you wild shape?
That's such a good question.
It's an excellent question.
I'm really hoping so.
Because I want to say that the rules are when you wild shape, you can't speak common, right? And if that's the case, you would naturally be able to speak the animal's language, maybe?
When using wild shape to take the form of an animal, you may use speak with animals to communicate with animals of your assumed form. Yeah, I'm gonna do that because I have that one.
Sure. As you cast speak with animals, you hear the squirrel start talking, just like, you didn't even get the ears right. Your tail is much too small. It's supposed to be bushier than that. And it like pats you on the head and it's like, you need to practice. You need work.
Thought I did fairly good, and I like swish my tail a little bit.
Oh, so she speaks now. This is great. Hey, good to see you again.
Likewise.
You
smell better this time.
Excuse me?
So what do you think? I like kind of like do like a gnawing thing, like I was eating a nut.
The squirrel kind of crosses its arms. It's like, you know what? This is acceptable.
There you go.
I guess.
I'd like to see you try and be a human.
Fine, fair point. Well, listen. You're out here scaring me to death, turning into a wolf, and then you turn into a squirrel. What am I supposed to do?
I mean, I guess that's fair. You should always run away from wolves. Most of them are not nice people like me.
I try to. Most of them aren't people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know how nature works, but like most things don't turn into other things.
I mean, I guess that's encouraging.
Yeah.
Be kind of scary if
you're special. That's for sure.
So are you getting lots of good nuts for winter, or how's that going?
I'm working on it. It's a slow process.
Do you need some help?
You want to help me forage for nuts?
I mean, not in this form, sorry, but it's a little bit restraining in the nut foraging department?
Sure, I'll take the help. I'll take any help I can get.
I'm assuming I can speak with animals for a little bit, even though I
yeah.
wild shape back. And then I'm just gonna spend a couple minutes, however long, maybe an hour, just walking around and helping him find some more nuts.
Sick. While that's happening, you spend probably your like Tuesday afternoon, evening going out and practicing this. Monday was pretty busy. Out in like the peace of the woods. At that same time, let's bring in Gwen. So Gwen, didn't you say that you were gonna go out and practice tracking in the woods?
Yeah.
What does that look like? Describe that to me and give me a survival check.
I'll just do the survival first. Frick, where is it? I'll just roll my dice. Because I'm blind. 21.
Ooh. All right, so let me
Um,
know what's different this time. Why are you out in the woods practicing? What's on Gwen's mind? Give us some insight.
She's just trying not to get too hung up on the tiny details. And maybe being like more aware of other things than just the ground, like stuff in the trees and all that.
Yeah. As you are walking around, sort of you take a moment, you pause to yourself, take in the surroundings, looking at the entire forest, scanning it up and down, the sway of the leaves that are turning that like autumn red color. The chill air doesn't really bother you much as a dragonborn, but you scan around and you see different animal prints throughout the forest, much like last time. There are a couple of those trees still with the scratches across them from the boars. There are still some tracks from the boars, very, very sparse holes in the ground from the onkegs. And you notice something new. A set of very large paw prints, almost like a massive wolf, along with new sets of scratches on some of the trees. Other than that, everything looks to be fairly calm. Like you could follow some of these smaller animals, like there are some deer tracks and things that you've already seen before, but that one sticks out to you.
She's gonna follow that new stuff because it seems interesting. More interesting than like a deer.
For sure. How does she follow it? Is this a very stealthy, quiet, I'm practicing like I'm hunting type of thing?
Yeah.
Or is it just, I'm literally just trying to follow a trail?
It's the first one, like she's just being stealthy along with it.
Sure. You begin tracking and you follow these prints and these scratches, and you notice that they are almost irregular from what you know. You continue, you go up more towards the school, and then as you get closer and closer, you see Athera sort of pop out almost of the ground, like she had just spawned there. And then she starts walking around and picking up acorns off the ground. And you sort of step far enough away to see her, but she doesn't know you're there.
I'm just gonna like look at her for a few minutes, and I'm also maybe thinking about scaring her a little bit.
Yeah, you sit there and watch her for a couple minutes, and then the thing that weirds you out the most is as she's going, at some point, like a squirrel just climbs up her and sits on her shoulder, and she just is totally fine with that.
Do I have any idea where maybe Delphina is?
I mean, your best bet would either be in your room or in that boy's room.
Okay. You know, just to give her a little fright, I'm going to try and shoot an arrow near her, but like stay hidden.
Oh no.
Sure, I'm gonna switch this back to the group video. You guys are both out in these woods. Aethera, you are helping gather up some acorns, and this little squirrel is just criticizing you the entire time you do it. Like, no, that is not how you forage for acorns. You got to move like this. And he jumps down and starts like moving the dirt. As you guys are doing this, I'm not going to ask for an attack roll. I'm going to ask for a stealth roll from you.
Okay.
I will give you advantage because you are staying far away and you have a really good setup here where you can choose how far you are. We will use Aethera's passive
16.
perception for that.
15.
Just good enough. As you're sitting there foraging for these acorns, an arrow flies out and stabs into the ground about 5 feet away from you, and your squirrel friend jumps and scurries up a tree, scared to death. And you look back and you don't see anything but a couple of branches swaying in the wind.
I'm gonna like stare over there for a little bit to see if there's any movement.
I'll let you
I'm
make
gonna
an
stay
active
still.
perception check.
It is a 24.
Damn.
I will
Yeah.
ask you, because a 24 doesn't, in this case, immediately mean like, you know exactly where she is, you know who it was,
Sure.
blah, 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 blah. When you rolled that stealth check, was that you staying and like hiding behind a tree, or was that you running off? Like, what was that for Gwen?
Kind of staying behind a tree.
For sure. On a 24 perception, you look around and you just barely see... Gwen has a tail, right?
Yeah.
Ah,
I never said that, but yes.
You just barely see towards the ground a little bit of blue scales from behind a tree.
Roll initiative.
Yeah, right? I'm going to cast Entangle in that general area and try and catch whoever's standing there in a bunch of vines.
Sure. What does Entangle need? You guys tell me.
Oh,
Let me look through here.
I hate that spell. So evil.
A creature in the area, when you cast the spell, must succeed on a strength saving throw or be restrained.
All right, you
Alright.
cast it. What's the range on that? I should ask that.
Oh, that is a really good question. It is 90 feet.
Yeah, we'll say that's close enough for this. Gwen, can you make a strength saving throw for us?
Got a 16.
Okay, she beat it. It was a 13.
All right. The thorns around your feet start to form and they come out of the tree, and these vines start to grab you by your ankles, but you jerk them free just enough to like break them, and you sort of move away to where these thorns still, exist, but you're able to just narrowly dodge being trapped down by them.
She move into my line of sight now.
I was thinking on maybe just, since I was hiding like behind a tree, of like kind of going more forward to try and stay like out of line of sight, but
Yeah, that's totally fine. This does not completely break line of sight, but you back up a little bit. You see a couple more shimmers of blue scales as, she clearly gets her feet underneath her and doesn't get trapped here and moves on.
I'm gonna reach down and like yank the arrow out of the ground and then just start marching towards the tree anyways and be like, what are you doing? What's your problem?
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just
I'ma
gonna
keep
try to hide
going.
again.
I'm going right to the tree where I saw her tail.
I'm gonna try to hide.
You know what? Just for the shiggles, go ahead and give me another stealth versus perception check.
That one's not as good, boys.
There's not
I
a
got
lot
an
of
8.
success here, regardless.
I got an 18.
I got an 8.
What does that look like? Clearly it does not work, but I'll let you tell me how Gwen attempts to hide.
She's just gonna like fumble and scramble to try to like get behind a bush, but it's not quite working too well.
Yeah, you go to hide behind a bush. Half of your body is like clearly visible right outside the bush. Your bow is sticking up. Your tail is going outside of the bush.
I'm gonna walk up and I'll be like, huh, it's too bad you can't bush shape, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Why don't you stand up? You look ridiculous.
I mean, you look kind of ridiculous with a squirrel on your shoulders, but sure. And she like stands up and brushes her legs off.
I'm gonna hold my arrow. The arrow. Do you want to talk about this?
That wasn't me.
Can I recognize like this is her arrow from the last time when she shot one at me?
I'm not gonna let Gwen tell me. I'm gonna let Izzy tell me. This is such an obvious lie to all of us.
Yeah, it's like a really obvious lie.
Okay. I was gonna make sure that you would be okay with me saying like no roll needed. You know she's lying. Like it's so obvious.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Wow. The deception you have is just. Do they teach like that in Ranger School?
I wouldn't know. This is my first year here. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me why you shot me? You scared my squirrel friend.
He's your friend?
Yeah?
You know, I'm supposed to be tracking down a squirrel, actually.
There's lots of squirrels in these woods.
Does this one throw nuts?
At people that shoot people for no good reason, yeah?
No, just I meant in general.
I don't know. Why don't you walk over there and test it out?
Yeah, okay.
Are you
And
gonna
I
walk?
walk over there. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a nut at her head while she walks away.
Do I know that this is her?
Same thing as the arrow, yeah. There's no hiding that. You turned around, and then 5 seconds later, a nut hits the back of your head, and you turn and look, and Aetheria's just standing there.
When I turn and look at her, I'm just gonna like make static kind of appear around my mouth.
Yep.
And just kind of growl at her.
You gonna spit at me?
Yeah, I will.
Do it.
I'm gonna spit at her.
Can I absorb elements that?
Yeah.
Let me absorb that spit.
I think it's a dex save. Roll a dex save, roll damage, absorb elements, will half the damage. Oh my god. I gotta make the music match this.
I got a 9 dex save.
Oof.
9 to spit.
Roll for spit. What's the damage on that spit?
What?
The damage. Oh, are you spitting at her or using your breath weapon?
No, I'm spitting.
Oh, I thought you were using your breath weapon. That's why I said roll for spit. Never mind. I had a completely
She told me to
different-
spit, so I'm gonna spit.
So it's just straight up spit. It's not even.
Yeah.
I misread this so bad.
No, it really was just spit, man. It wasn't.
Wait. Okay, so you do that. I'm gonna go. Seriously, I know you can do better than that.
Not really worth my time, sorry.
It was worth your time to waste one of your arrows.
Yeah, it was just for fun.
That was. It's not fun. You have a weird idea of fun.
Just giving you a little bit of a fright. You should always be aware of your surroundings, you know?
Aetheria's just looks. She's absolutely baffled and not even sure what to do. Look, I was busy here. Are you gonna stand around here and continue wasting my time? Or, fight out this tension that you have, or leave?
Well, I mean, you're the one who just came up to me.
You
could have kept doing what you were doing. You could have absolutely just stayed with your Squirrelfriend and kept on doing whatever that was.
Couldn't. He ran off because somebody, you, shot an arrow. And at this point, I don't know if you're trying not to hit me or if you just are really that bad at aiming.
You can find out at some point.
DM,
Yeah.
are we counting that I have thus far actually used 2 wild shapes? Can I not wild shape again? Because that's my limit.
I will say for the sake of this, I'm allowed to say that you can wild shape.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to wild shape into a direwolf and stare Gwen straight in the eyes.
I'm gonna kind of threaten her again with my breath weapon.
CDM, this is not spit. This is actual breath weapon.
This is we're talking real breath weapon this time.
Marcel, do something.
It's just like the static around the mouth. She's not actually doing it yet. It's just a warning.
Yeah, as of this point, it's just a standoff between a snarling wolf and a, staticky dragonborn.
No Marcel to communicate.
I'm just gonna growl and see if she's actually gonna make a move.
I'm just going to back up. Well, I guess she's kind of closer to the woods now because I was moving forward. I'm just gonna sidestep and try to make my way back towards the woods.
As you begin to walk away, you both feel an acorn smack you in the side of the face. This squirrel is accurate. So as you begin to turn, you feel it hit you on the side of the head, and then in your wolf form, you feel like the fur on your face just bump an acorn against you. And the squirrel is sitting there, hands on its hips, looking at both of you.
I'm gonna go, what the heck, man?
Now that it knows it's you, it's gonna walk up as you yap at it, and it's just gonna smack you on the snout. Probably has to jump to do it, but
Probably has a jump.
it's gonna run over to Gwen and start pulling on her pant leg.
What?
Points at the dog.
You want me to kick her?
Smacks you on the foot.
That wasn't really necessary.
Puts his hands back on his hips. Squirrel shakes its head, walks away, raises his hand up just I'm trying here. Points at Athera, points at Gwen, points at each other.
Are you asking us to kiss or something?
It faceballs.
Athera immediately.
I mean, that'll solve everything.
It grabs another acorn and throws it at you. It just stares at you.
If you're really this adamant about throwing acorns, I'd really appreciate if you could come with me.
It just continues staring at you. It looks between you guys, exasperated. It walks back up to Athera, pets you on the leg, and since you still have Speak with Animals up, you know that the squirrel was kind of talking during this, and it was just you guys need to make up. I don't understand why you guys are fighting. Doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna keep throwing acorns at both of you if you're gonna be annoying. And then at this point, because obviously Gwen cannot hear him or respond, he's just gonna walk back up to you, pet you on the paw. He's gonna be like, be nice. Try.
She shot first.
I know. And then the squirrel's gonna run off and then go back to its tree.
Gwen's just gonna sigh and try to make her way back into the woods to continue practicing.
Sure. How does Athera respond to that?
If Gwen's walking away, Athera's just gonna sit down and watch her until she can see that she's gone in wolf form.
Sure. Gwen leaves to go do other things. You watch as she leaves, and then when she does, you probably continue your night, maybe helping the squirrel, going back and studying, looking into that club that Professor Mineo talked about. A lot of different options there. Let's switch gears for a minute. Marcel, I'm assuming that you've been attempting to gather the party on a specific day. You've got these plans that Sivik gave you. He sort of gave you some advice on how he would believe to help form a group that trusts each other and works together. You had a couple other things that you were sort of building up. Those might take a little bit of time, like making alcohol is not just an immediate process.
Yeah,
You absolutely sort of have that just kind of in the background happening. But what day are you trying to get this group together?
Whatever 2 days after I talked to Rosarius.
Okay, so that'd be, I guess, Wednesday for our purposes. You start planning for Wednesday. You start practicing with that stuff. I'll ask you, because I think this fits Marcel. How does having homework go? Professor Talanch is actually assigning you guys papers that you have to write, summaries of the different patrons and commonalities in their packs and things like that. How does that go?
Marcel will definitely try to get one of his classmates, forget what his name was, but get him to like do a kind of a study group together to work with the homework. But Marcel will definitely be kicking and crying and really putting himself to ringer through this one. It's like, it's so boring.
Yeah.
How can something so cool be so dull?
Where are you at whenever you do this work?
Over this work, he will try to be maybe in the cafe.
Sure.
Trying
You're
to
just
be
like
there because
hanging out in a cafe. You start like exasperatingly just be like, I thought being a warlock was so cool. Some of the upperclassmen are walking by you and just sort of stop, and the cafe gets quiet. They all look at you.
What are you looking at? You see, I'm trying to do some education here. I don't see that's what you're doing, huh?
They shake their head with their coffees and continue on. And then people go back to doing their stuff.
Don't judge me!
Someone yells as they're leaving, like, oh, we're judging, buddy.
Damn it!
Marcel is going through the ringer right now.
He loses all cool and everything because of this. This is just his life.
For sure.
Everything else, fun and loving, but this is just like...
Homework is just painful.
But he does do it.
Yeah, he gets the homework done. He just does not enjoy the process of doing it one bit. For sure. The other person that we had doing some interesting things, Kieran. I think you said to me that you wanted to start a fake-ish weed business on campus, looking for some clientele for that. And you were also, I think you had a couple of plans that we can continue on, potentially trying to rob people in their rooms. Your own party members. So, if you want to unmute and elaborate on some of those, I will gladly help you out with that.
Thanks for reminding me at the meeting. First things first, my fake weed business, because it's totally not fake, but it's fake. So what I'm going to be doing is using my natural charisma and my ability to convince people that what they're smoking isn't normal grass with flavoring. It's in fact magical weed dust that like manipulates the mind to help them relax and study more. It's going to be my spiel.
Sure.
And I'm just going to go around to people who are really stressed and, charisma them into buying a nice bag for only 2 silver.
You go around looking for stressed people. Where do you go? I mean,
Kieran.
The common areas that you would find people maybe working at would be like the library or like one of the cafes or just around campus, because it is like the fall months, but it's not freezing outside. It's still nice.
The first spot is going to be the library, and the second spot is going to be near the fighters' dorms.
Sure.
Because they're a bunch of jocks and they probably don't know how to study right.
You go to the library. Go ahead and give me I need 2 things from you. One, tell me the kind of person you're looking for. Like, if anything would specifically stand out to you, whether they're an upperclassman, maybe a lowerclassman, if they're by themselves or in a group. Like, what are your metrics for this? And then 2, give me a persuasion check.
So I'm looking for someone who's in a group of 1 or 2, who is middle class. They look like they have a bit of money, but they look like they're just kind of here because they need to be. The person in the middle, they're not like a nerd, they're not like a jock, they're kind of in the middle. The jocks I'll get to in a second. And I'm mostly just going to sit by them and pretend to study, and then slowly ask them, hey, how's studying going? And if any of them kind of give me a bit of it's not doing so good, or, I can't get through this question, then I roll that into a sale.
Sure. You find a group of 2 who are sitting there doing some homework together. I will go ahead and show you their pictures. You sit down with them, they introduce themselves. They're both upperclassmen. The blonde guy's like, oh, hey, my name's Drake. The other guy with red hair, he says his name's Henry. You approach them, ask them how studying is going, and Drake sort of looks at you and he's like, I mean, it's not bad. What can I say? It could be a lot worse, but it's just a little tedious.
Oh, what if I could make it better, though? I got this stuff from the druids that spices up the mind a lot and has made my studying just so easy.
Drake sort of looks over at Henry, and Henry looks at you and he's like, You're a first year, aren't you?
Oh, who knows? I've been around the block.
Well, I don't recognize your face, but I think we got someone already, but if your stuff is better, we'll hear you out.
See, most stuff is just the plain old plant. This stuff, it has, how should I call it? Blessings from the Fae inside of it.
Henry looks over at Drake and he's like, You got any idea what that means? And Drake looks at him and then looks at you and sort of squints his eyes. And he says, Oh, wait. No, I think I've heard about this. This is that shit that comes out of Valen Run, where they have like the leaves of blue iris flowers included because they have those like latent magical properties. It's apparently crazy.
It's out of this world. I would smoke it all day if I could.
They both look at you. Go ahead and roll me that persuasion check.
Oh boy, let's do this. I only have a +7. I rolled a 4.
You got an 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drake looks at you and he's like, Okay, but how do we know that you got the real stuff? Because if this is what I think it is, and you're bringing us stuff from Valen Run, I'm definitely interested. But, that's got to be expensive.
I place a little bit on the table, like a little baggie. You go try this out, and let me know how you feel. Come back to me if you have any questions.
So free.
Free.
He shrugs, looks at Henry, he's like, Can't argue, it's free. Henry
Exactly.
picks up the bag and he's like, Sure. I guess we'll give it a try. Thanks, Kyle?
You can call me Jacob.
Jacob. All right, Jacob. We'll give this a shot.
No problem.
But if this
find
ain't great, you're not getting any more business from us.
No problem. If you need me, I'll be around the lunch hall around 1-ish. Look for the handsome Jack with red hair.
Henry looks at you and he's like, If I wanted that, I'd look in a mirror, but I get the point.
I know exactly what you're thinking.
He gives
I would
you
get them.
a bit of a smile. Drake sort of nudges you on the shoulder and he's like, All right, first year, let's see if you make a good impression.
I get up and I kind of scurry off.
You sort of run off to other places. I will say, if you want to wander to other places on campus, you would definitely bump into Marcel at the cafe at Nura House.
Marcel, how are you doing today?
Struggling with
Haven't
his
seen
homework.
you around.
Fucking packs and I never done anything like this before. Look, I actually have, but that's a long story. Don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about it. So I'm doing this right now, and it's stressful. No, it's very stressful. This is. No, it's not stressful. Killing a giant monster. That I had no problems with. This, way more problems.
Like
You understand me, Kieran? Don't you understand?
Okay. I understand, but you need to be calm down. Hey, I've got something for you. It's gonna make everything better. Be fine. I put a little baggie in front of him. Just puff on that for a bit. You'll be fine to get to your homework. Got it?
What the hell is this?
It's magical leaves I got from the druids.
What makes it magical?
There's Fae properties. It relieves stress, increases the mind. It's wonderful. You smoke some of that, come back, finish your studies. Need another baggie, 2 silver, because you're one of my friends. 2 silver for you. You know where to find me.
He thinks for a second, looks to the baggie. Does it work?
Why else am I giving it to you? I can trust you, right?
Can I roll like a, what would that be? Like a insight?
Yeah, I'll let you roll an insight check versus a deception check.
Yes. My other good skill.
He's good at two things.
I got a 21.
19. Ooh, you beat me.
Damn. You were very, very hesitant at first. Like, you didn't think this could be true. But then you start thinking, like, he's part of my group. He's part of my party. If I'm going to, get these guys to trust me and to trust each other, I got to start by
I have to
trusting
trust
them.
them.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because I trust Kieran, Why would Kieran lie to me? I trust Kieran. Kieran's a good guy.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Kieran,
I'm the best guy. I make
But I don't have my money with me, man. Marcel, looks, I don't have my money with me. I'll pay you back later.
You smoke that, and then if you want more, you come to me. Then you have to buy.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, cheers. And I skip off.
And
And
Kieran,
then while you walk away, you hear Marcel, fuck! He's like, he only went to the second problem.
you heard him flip the page of the textbook that he's in and then immediately scream when you realize there's more. It's tough.
I only finished one problem. It has just 10 parts. What kind of evil monster does this?
Another student in there who's also working on homework just looks up and she says, "To launch," and then she goes back down to working on her stuff.
Oh, thank you. See how very helpful.
And with that, Kieran goes about his business. Let's go to someone that I feel has been a little bit neglected in this sense. Leo. I believe you said that you're going to be practicing, you're going to be studying a lot. You obviously have your prayers that you will do sometimes, but you're also specifically practicing healing magic. You got some homework from the cleric classes that you're in. They want you guys to practice as much as possible. What sort of fills your day? Like, what are some things that Leo's been doing over the next 2 days?
Spending a lot of his time poring over books, things like that, and then I guess when he can, he goes outside and he prays, or he prays by his window in his room. And then I guess any type of healing magic that he can possibly do in his room, like that.
While you're there studying one day, probably in the middle of a prayer, you hear a knock at your door. It seems pretty heavy-handed.
So I'm gonna get up and go see who it is.
You walk up, open the door, and then you see Lucilda standing there with, a book bag over one shoulder, and she's looking at you, and she's like, "Hey, Leo,
Tilda.
I need help."
Well, what do you need help with?
So as part of the Paladin homework, we're supposed to practice healing people, and I'm not picking it up very fast. And I know you're a cleric, and that's y'all's thing. You're taking a whole class for it. But I also signed up for the volunteer hours like you did, and I'm worried I'm not going to be of much use if I can't get this healing thing down. Could you help me?
Joel. Actually, I needed to practice a little bit myself, so...
Perfect. You can show me.
Yeah.
So, I obviously we have to have some sort of thing to heal. One of the things that they suggested for us as paladins was to spar with someone and just heal us back and forth. Do you want to do that?
He wants me to spar with you.
Yeah, if you don't want to, I had someone else who said that they would be fine with it, but they aren't going to be able to heal me, so I'd have to heal myself.
Yeah.
Or we could just do that. I could spar with him and heal him, and then you heal me and sort of show me how to do it.
Yeah, let's do it that way. 'Cause I don't actually spar.
Sure, yeah, that's fine. She drags you across campus, sort of telling you about this guy. She's like, "All right, so listen, he's kind of, he's a little annoying, just deal with him. He's talented with a sword. That's all we need right now." She brings you
How do you know
to the
this
West
guy?
Wing, to where you see Balon sitting there in full armor with a sword and a shield. And as Lucilda comes in, he looks at her and he says, "You're late. We were supposed to meet 15 minutes ago." And she said, "Sorry, I was getting our cleric to make sure that we don't die." Anyway, Balon, this is Leo. Leo, this is Balon. Balon, what we're gonna do, we'll spar. Leo's gonna heal me, and then I'll heal you. You know, I'm assuming you're gonna need it. And she gives him a little bit of a sly smirk, and she looks back at you and she says, if you just want to come up with like a couple main things that might help me, you know, whatever's gonna help me get this healing thing down. I just cannot seem to make it work. So if you want to watch us, that's fine, but give us like 10 minutes to wear ourselves out, and then I'll come right over to you.
Leo's gonna walk to the side and watch.
You watch as Balon and Lysilda sort of go at it. They grab some of the practice training weapons in here, using shields, obviously, and they're going back and forth, and by the time they start getting exhausted, they start landing a couple hits, like Lysilda gets hit in the knee, she gets hit on her arm. She hits Balon a couple times, and then, you know, he's sitting there with a couple of, like, bruises and marks. He gets knocked to the ground, and Lysilda walks up, and he, like, trips her, and they both fall. Shake hands on the ground. They're like, all right, truce. Lysilda sort of hobbles over to you with her knee hurt, and she sits down right where you're at, and she takes off the armor piece on her leg, and she's like, okay, can you show me how you get this stuff to work? Because every time I start it, it either turns into something else, or it just doesn't heal as much as I want it to. But this would be like a good example here, I guess. And she shows you her knee that has like a huge bruise on it, and it's already swollen.
Sure. Okay. What you're going to want to do is really focus, concentrate your energy into the injury here. And then Leo's going to like hold his hand kind of over where she's hit and cast Cure Wounds.
She looks at, go ahead, cast Cure Wounds. She's like looking at your hand and awe, and she looks back and she's like, all right, so concentrate, focus, clear my mind, got it, yeah. So you don't have to like put your hand on them to heal them, you can just hold it near them?
Yeah. You don't have
well,
to.
no
And,
wonder I was like grabbing the thing whenever I went to heal it. Like I was putting some force into it. I thought you had to like shove the magic in there.
No. We're healing, not hurting.
Okay, yeah, I know that, genius. She stands up and tests out her knee and puts a little bit of weight on it. She's like, all right, well, that feels fine. It might have a bruise, but it's not hurt. She walks over to Balon and helps him up off the ground, and she walks over to like his shoulder and holds her hand just above his shoulder. You see a little bit of faint, sort of yellowish white light hover over his shoulder as she casts a healing spell, and she says, how does that feel? And Balon twists it, and it kind of like catches in place, but he moves it, gets it to where he stretches it out, and he says, it's fine. It still has a little bit of residual pain, but that's nothing I can't deal with. Thank you. And he gives like a slight nod of the head, and then sets his weapons and armor back up very neatly, and then leaves the training room. And Lysilda walks back over to you. She's like, okay, I need to practice a little bit more. Can we like just go out into the campus and then just like you show me your process of like casting things, and I'm just gonna mimic you?
Sure. I think you may be overthinking it a little bit.
I think so too, but that's just how I do things. I tackle them head on. All right,
So
let's
we
go.
need to change that up a little bit. Let's go.
You guys head off into a different part of campus where you can just like sit on a park bench. You sort of show her the method of you casting a spell, and she tries to sort of mimic you, which I'll let you describe what that looks like. When you go to cast spells, do you have any sort of ritual? Like, do you close your eyes? Do you grab your focus? What does casting spells look like for Leo?
So when Leo starts casting spells, I guess you see him kind of like, I'm gonna say like go into a trance for a second. And when he does, like his hand will start to glow and it casts the spell. But it's only for a second. You wouldn't notice it if you weren't watching him.
Yeah, she's watching you very closely, like watching your eyes. So do you leave your eyes open and they just sort of like, you almost go out of focus for a second as you connect with that magic?
Exactly.
Sweet. She's like watching you very intently, watching your eyes, and that she notices how they just barely go like sort of out of focus, like you're not looking at anything. And then that magic starts to channel, and then you focus it. And she sort of takes that the same way. She closes her eyes so that she doesn't have anything to look at, feels the magic, and then starts to use it. And she slowly starts to pick up on it. And, you know, by the end of the night, she says thank you, gives you a fist bump, and she says, I expect us to practice this again later because I will forget everything you taught me.
Sure. Just let me know.
She gives you a smile, waves bye to you, and then you head off. Wednesday rolls around. You guys have all been told by Marcel at one point or another that, hey, Wednesday during dinner, we are meeting together. You do not have a choice. You guys go to your classes, you do some studying, you hang out with people. Kieran starts his business. Rosaries hangs out with Kata, and Barry spars with Beatrice. Marcel is planning this meeting between all of you guys. Athera's starting a garden in her room. Lucian is still nowhere to be seen. He's out studying, assumingly. Gwen has been practicing tracking and being out in nature, getting a little more accustomed to the area. And then Leo, obviously, hitting the books and practicing those healing spells. Wednesday at dinner rolls around. Marcel, you are the first one there. You are sitting there waiting at a table for everyone to show up. You are so excited for this. You're like, finally, this party is going to function correctly. I know this is going to work. There's no way Syvic has let me down. It makes total sense. You are sitting there at the table. Who arrives first?
I will. I'll probably just walk up and I told you I'd be here, Marcel. I'm here.
Thanks, man.
Rosaries, I'm assuming you came in like with Kata and Barry. You guys were hanging out in the Bard dorm, meeting a couple people. They say they'll catch you later, and they head off to go get some food and leave you to your party things. But Athera, I think you were coming in next.
Yeah, I'll come in next. I'll just come in. Nod at Rosaries. Nod at Marcel. Take a seat.
Kieran's gonna kind of slink in, you know. He's just gonna kind of appear at the table, looking at stuff.
Yeah, just looking around the room. A couple of upperclassmen from across the cafeteria see you, and you give them a little wave as they, you know, point at you and give you that like bro nod.
I'll come in after him
So,
and just kind of take a seat farthest away from Athera.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are at like a circular table. You sit at the opposite end of her, which is the furthest away, but also looking directly at her.
I guess Leo's going to be coming in now. Kind of reading a book as he's walking in. Just randomly sits somewhere.
Yeah, you guys all sit around the table, and then Juan, I'll cover Marcel for a second. Marcel looks around at you guys, smiling super big, and he looks at you and he's like, well, guys, I'm glad that we're all together again, as it should be. So listen, clearly our biggest issue right now is that I'm not going to say hate, that's a strong word, we don't get along with each other. And I know how to fix it. And he holds up both of his hands to both of his sides to where, I guess, whoever would have came in last, so Leo would be at one and Gwen would be at the other. He holds up both of his hands for you guys to hold them. Come on.
Wants me to hold your hand.
Uh-huh.
For?
Just trust me.
Right. I guess Leo's gonna very slowly take his hand.
Leo, you take his hand. What about
This is now
Gwen?
weird.
Sure.
Let me write down sort of an order here. Yeah, you guys take his hand sort of gingerly. Gwen, to your other side is Rosaries. Marcel looks at you two and he's like, yeah, come on, you know what to do.
I'll just stick my hand out, I guess, and let Gwen take it if she wants.
I'll take it.
Leo, to your other side is Athera.
I'm
Oh,
not
am I
reaching
taking
for
it?
his hand.
Oh, so I have to take other people's hands?
Marcel's like, yes, come on.
Yeah.
Hold hands.
Right.
Come on, guys. We all know how to do this.
Let's
Sound-
cheers for him,
so-
and we can get this over with.
I like,
I've been holding his hand for too long really now.
Marcel
Sounds gay, I'm
squeezes
in.
your hand.
very like awkwardly and slowly put my hand in Leo's hand.
And then last, Kieran and Athera, you are both sort of pincering Kieran. Or Rosari's
Oh,
and Athera,
gladly.
sorry.
I'll just grab their hands all lovingly. Okay, we're going through a trip of some sort, right? So we're doing like a smoke circle.
Marcel looks at you and he's like, no, absolutely not. And then winks at you. He says, listen. He looks over at Leo and he goes, Leo,
Yes?
I love you.
Sure.
Sure.
Gwen, I love
yeah.
you.
Okay.
Your turn.
Love you too, mate.
That's right. That's right. Leo,
Yeah.
tell me you love me.
Not comfortable with that. I like you. That's for sure.
You know what? We'll take it. That's good enough.
Alright.
All right, Leo, your turn.
To do what?
You keep the circle going.
I feel like I just told you I liked you.
Yeah, but Athera's on your other side, and she feels very left out right now.
Oh.
Actually,
Athera,
no, I don't-
like you also.
Okay. I feel like I barely know you,
Athera.
but there's the potential that I would like you eventually. Okay,
Oh.
I like what I know about you now.
That counts.
She looks over at Kieran and she just is like, looks back at Marcel. Are you serious? You're
I
not.
am
no.
so serious. We are a party. We are friends, and we love each other. We're like each other. We're like what we
Never
know
been
about
a
each
part
other.
of anything like this.
I mean, if you want me to lie, sure.
Everybody at this
church.
table?
Everybody at the table.
I like directly look across at Gwen.
I just wave.
Oh my
You're holding
gosh.
hands.
Marcel's like, no, give me your hand back.
Okay.
Kieran, I feel like I could hate you more.
That's a
So-
compliment. That's a compliment.
There's room for improvement, and I'm willing to give you time.
You know what? The last person to say that to me put a shiv in my back.
Well, that's not my style.
I mean, there's a few more things in your style that I'm probably okay with.
Just, it's your turn.
Well, out of all the parties I've had in my life, I think I can love you guys one day. Definitely don't hate you, less than the rest of them.
That's
I'll
positive.
see
We'll
what
take it.
benefits you guys have.
Come on, Rosaries.
I look at him and wink.
No, you want to.
No, I can honestly say I don't.
You know you have to.
And who's going to make me? Are you?
No.
Look, I don't have to like any of you. You just have to know that I will do my job and I will do it to the best of my abilities.
Even for me?
Unfortunately.
Oh. What if Kata says you have to?
Like, Ada knows not to command me to do things I do not want.
Oh, but you wanted to.
No. Are we done here? I will do my best. I will be the frontliner. I will take the damage. I will do what I need to do to make sure the party survives. You need nothing more of me.
Marcel looks just kind of, perplexed, and he's like, I don't even know how to respond to that. Gwen, your turn.
To who?
He looks around and he's like, oh, I messed up the circle. Rosaris, tell Rosaris. I think he needs it. Okay, follow after me. Rosaris.
Rosaris.
I love/like you.
Love/like
No,
you.
you were, okay.
What?
No, that was great. That was so good. I would
Thank
clap,
you,
but I'm
Gwen.
holding your
I
hands.
did what she told me to do.
It was great. Okay, now that we got the first part done, and he looks around the table at all of you and he says, Kieran, I like you. Rosaris, I like you. Athera, I like you. Gwen, I like you. Leo, I like you. All right, Leo, your turn.
Congratulations, everyone. We're a dysfunctional family.
So, I need to get this straight. Why do we have to like each other? Why can't we just use each other for benefit? You know, just... you're good, Rosaris, at being a big guy in the front. Oh, and Athera, you're amazing at what you do, too. You know, and then we all work together, get a bunch of bank, and then go home and, I don't know, drink it away.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Kieran is actually making a fair amount of sense for once.
Like,
Mark?
if you want her to love you, you have to understand that all of us have our own traumas in life. Different things that hurt us. Someone's scared of wolves in here. Some of us is scared
Who's
of
afraid of
losing
wolves?
friends. We all know.
No, I don't. That sounds pretty funny, actually.
Interesting. Or maybe you just hate them and want to shoot them. Who knows?
I don't really know what you're talking about.
Got it. Anyways, you know what I'm saying, though. We all have our differences. We're all just classmates. Why do we have to work together? Just work together enough to get the job done.
Marcel drops Leo and Gwen's hands, and he's like, I mean, I'm not saying we have to like each other, but this party thing would be a lot easier if we could like each other, right?
Sure.
And I kind of get what you're saying. So we got this big game coming up. We might be fighting each other and stuff, right? That sounds great to me. I like to shoot other people, but we have to make boundaries. No hand holding and come together and all that. Got it?
He looks around at you guys and he says, I say we have to like each other. And whether that happens right now or in the future, I don't care. But we got to start somewhere, right? So, Rosaris, you're good at being the big guy in the front, and I appreciate you for it.
Yes, I will continue to do my job in the party, and I appreciate your ability to yell at a sword and it randomly does damage to things, and I still don't quite understand how that happens.
Me neither.
Y'all see that seamless transition right there?
That was beautiful.
It's really
Perfect. 10 out of 10.
And your ability to just change faces is amazing, Marcel.
And my voice too, like completely different. Like sorry, something in my throat a little bit a while ago.
very impressive.
Very impressive. Leo, I am sorry for the way I act towards you. It is something I regret, but is something I will not change easily, unfortunately.
Why don't you like me?
What god do you serve?
I serve the Church of Teus.
There's your answer.
Teus?
Yes.
How interesting. I honestly thought you were racist.
No, in fact, one of my closest family members is a half-orc.
Interesting. Maybe we should talk more about this at some point.
Perhaps when we've grown to trust each other a little bit more.
Sure, I'll give you that.
Anyways, if this good come together is all good, I've got some staking out to do. Have a good night, my dear.
Bye, Kieran, I guess.
Bye.
As the like everybody's kind of like being done, and Kieran's starting to walk away. I'm gonna pull something out of my pocket, and I'm gonna throw 2 halves of a broken arrow across the table and say, "Hey, here, you forgot this."
Why'd you break it?
It might have broken on its own, you don't know.
Nah. That's a lie. I smell it.
Better lies than you tell.
It's just a little fib. Come on. I don't like to lie.
So, what happened with this arrow?
Apparently, Gwen did not shoot it.
I was just trying to give her a bit of a scare, okay?
I don't think shooting arrows or pointing weapons at each other is a healthy way of working together. Don't you agree, Rosarius?
And Rosarius is immediately going to think about the time that he threatened to smite Kieran. And he's going to just say, at least not following through on the threat is important. Actually, shooting the arrow is probably in poor taste.
I was just, practicing my tracking, and I happened to track her, and I didn't know it was her. But, I shot at her just like I would any other animal I would track.
Are you calling me an animal?
Yeah.
Fancy coming from you.
Yeah, but at least I'm not a filthy skin shedder.
There's gonna stand up and kick her chair back. Say that again.
All right. Skin shedder.
Let's take a little hard pause on this situation. We're not going to keep calling you certain names and whatever that means, but okay, we're clearing the air out at least. That's some progress. We're talking about stuff, and what seems to be the issue with you two? Honestly, let's be real. What is the issue?
Gwen's just gonna stay quiet.
She shot the arrow.
Okay. I get that. It definitely is a problem. And looks to Gwen. And
yeah.
What was that a moment ago? Kind of a little out of the blue and kind of may be quite offensive to some people, I assume.
Her presence offends me, so it's only fair.
How does her presence offend you?
I'd rather not talk about it right now.
Well, we need to discuss this because we'll be, have to help each other quite a bit. And we might be in very difficult situations. And if a party member mere existence is offending you, that's kind of a conflict of interest.
Then I just won't work with her.
You won't work with her?
I mean, I'll be in the party, but I'm not gonna help her.
It's okay, I don't need your help.
That's fine.
As someone who is going to be taking the fight right up front, I would prefer it if the two of you would work together. I'm working with the courtesan over there. I would prefer it if you two could work together.
Honestly, I think we
tried.
all held hands because of you.
You've tried. All you've done is taunt me. I don't really see any trying going on.
I asked you what the problem was, and you don't care to talk about it. So I don't know what you expect from me in return.
Yeah, and then every time, I might be willing to talk about something, you, I don't know, turn into a creature.
Yeah, because you're shooting arrows at me. That's my best defense.
Learn a better one.
Learn a different weapon.
I'm good.
Can we just agree to not attack one another? Yeah. We don't have to be friends. I won't smite Leo. Gwen, you don't shoot arrows at Aethera. Aethera, you don't bite at her in your wild shape. we just get along as best we can to get the job done. Is that good enough for now?
Vera's gonna sit down, not say anything.
If she's not gonna say anything, I'm also not gonna say anything.
Good. It makes reining y'all in a lot easier if you don't respond. Marcel, is there anything else we need to do?
Well, honestly, we seem to got everything covered, mostly. But yeah, you guys can head out. I'll just be thinking more on what we're supposed to do when the time comes. But yeah, good talk. Learn some more interesting things that probably should be addressed later. But right now, I think we all had a pretty long night.
I agree. And Rosarius will get up and head out.
As you
Remember,
get up and
guys.
leave, Kata will sort of like skip up to your side and sort of ask you what that was about after, she's finished her food, and you guys leave together as she's interrogating you about what in the world that was.
Before we leave, when she walks up to me, I will whisper in Undercommon and kind of try to point to Leo in a soft way and tell her about him being part of the Church of Corteus.
Word. Leo, you got a pretty high wisdom, so your passive perception is, decent. You easily pick up on the fact that Rosari's whispers to Kata, points at you, and then she like leans behind him and glances at you, and you guys make eye contact, and she does that awkward like, oops, I was looking at him, and then like continues on. And you guys leave out. And we'll leave it at that. All right. So the rest of you sort of quietly...
Yeah, get out of my place, guys.
Yeah, you guys finish up the food that you might have had in front of you very, very quietly, and then quickly leave and pass. Where did Kieran go? What is he doing? Everybody's heading out now.
Kieran's like around the corner, and he's just trying to hold all his emotions in right now. He's just kind of sitting there listening to the rest of the party, kind of wishing he could have been, kumbaya and all that with them, but he's just so closed off. He just needs to get out of there as soon as possible.
Sure. I'll say our highest passive perception in the party is Athera, I believe, with a 15. What would she hear or see as she's leaving? And then the rest of the party can sort of get the majority of that, bits and pieces.
You just hear like kind of a kind of like a shivering pain kind of thing. And he's like, oh, I'm not ready for this right now. Just get your bearings, find people you can trust, and make sure your dagger's at the back. You know what to do. And you just hear him talking to himself, and he's crying, but he's trying to not cry,
So Athera, as you're, going to leave the cafeteria, you pick up on that. You sort of hear and see him off on a table to himself.
I'm gonna like awkwardly approach. Kieran, are you okay?
Yes. Yes, okay.
Can I tell if he's lying?
I feel like in this instance, again, I don't think a roll's needed. It's very obvious that he's not good, but he does say that he is good. So however you want to react to that.
I mean, you don't look too good.
You know what? Mind your own business, okay? And I'll mind mine. We'll have a nice night.
Hey, I'm already fighting with one person in the party. Look, I get it. I'm not good about talking about these things anyways.
Do you know what it's like to be like where you should be dead? Where your whole life's a lie?
No. But I feel like you could tell me.
We'll see. I'm going to go get some fresh air. I'll wipe away my tears and stand up and go outside.
Okay. I look very baffled and didn't really know how to deal with that.
for the rest of you guys, as you begin to make your way out of the cafeteria and disperse across campus, a couple of NPCs will sort of like catch you guys around campus that night or as you're leaving. Lysilda and Leo, you guys go continue to train with healing magic. Gwen, Delphina catches you as you're just leaving and she's entering the cafeteria, and she introduces you to Derek, who's like this tall, like 6'2". He's got like really curly dark hair. He's got pale skin, like bright green eyes, kind of thin, almost looks like you would expect an elf to look, but he's human. She introduces you to him. Rosari's heads off. Marcel is probably the last one at the table. How does Marcel feel that went? What's going through his head?
We have a lot of work, that's for sure.
We got a lot of work, and that is absolutely true. And with that, let's go ahead, take a quick little breaky break, and then we'll be back in about 5 or so minutes. Let's continue on. The group is in a slightly better place than we started today, I guess. If I had to put it on a metric scale, I would say out of 100, we were at like a 5, and now we're at a 7. You know?
6.5.
6.5, maybe? I don't know. Either way, the week continues on. Just to highlight some of the other things that maybe happened throughout the week, for going through each character. Marcel, you sort of pick up a book, you distract yourself from homework by reading something a little bit more entertaining. You assemble this like alcohol distilling system, and you're going to teach yourself how to really refine drinks and how to make them. You're picking that up as a hobby. You also have a lot of homework. Professor Talanch gives you multiple papers throughout the week where it's like, next day, I need 2 pages written on this. Next day, another 2 pages on this other topic. And it's just every single
Give
day.
me a day!
Yeah, you don't get a single day of freedom.
I haven't even streaked yet. I was supposed to streak all day.
Kieran, the 2 upperclassmen that you talked to, Henry and Drake, come up to you and they're like, "Hey, Jacob, that stuff that you gave us, it was pretty cool. It was pretty mellow. We'll take another small batch of it." And then they toss you a gold piece and just ask how much that can get them.
I dig into my bag and take them out like a good baggie full. I'm like, here you go, and I've got some special little edibles coming in soon, and they're gonna make everything better. Oh my god, I took one the other day with it, and it was like night and day.
Drake gives you like a clap on the shoulder, and he's like, "Man, this year's first years are not too bad, not too bad." So they take that, and then you sort of go off. Do you do anything else throughout the week? Any specific things other than doing your business?
I'm trying to kind of stake out a good time to present the poem to Kada, and also kind of staking out a certain 2 people's bedrooms.
I'll say you stake it out. You gather some information. The one for Kada, you know that the only time that you're really going to be within her vicinity that you absolutely know of would be homeroom, because she is also in there with you. Her party is. But Rosari's is also there. So it's kind of a tricky situation.
You know what? I'm going to probably have to just do it.
All right. Next on the list, ironically, Rosari's. Throughout the week, obviously, I know you're training, you're sparring a little bit. Is there anything else specifically that you do? I know you hang out with Kada, and she sort of brings you and Barry along. She's the extrovert that adopted both of you who don't like to talk to people. But what else happens in the week?
I think with any extra time other than what we've talked about, I would probably just be in the library, kind of doing extra research for my class on, I think it's intro to religious studies. So I'm just looking up like more myths, legends, things like that, poetry about the different gods.
Yeah, actually, this week, and I'm going to brag about this on the stream because I can. This week at the beginning of class, your professor is a Rihala. He's this big Goliath of a man who is very, he has a deep voice. He's very muscular. He's very large. He's like almost 8 feet tall. He's got tattoos up and down his body. But he has this gentle cadence about him that is almost comforting. And the more that you talk to him since your interview, the more you, I guess, like, get used to him. And you can tell that he's a very wise and very intelligent person. He gives you guys a textbook for this class called A Forward on Religious Studies, which I have actually written and given to Rosaris. And if any of you are intrigued, I will give it to you as well. But
I have actually read it.
Yeah, you're welcome. So yeah, some of your extra time is spent doing that, getting ahead on homework. Absolutely love it for sure. Next up, Athera. So you got your garden going. You've got practicing wild shape. You do find a little bit more information about that club that Mineo told you about. You bump into a second year and you meet her just briefly, sort of in between classes. She introduces herself. Her name is Hildegard. She is not the head of this quote-unquote club, if you want to call it that, but she is, social and friendly and willing to help you out. And she says that, they're not meeting quite yet. The semester is just getting started, but give it like a week or two, and she will, come by your room and let you know whenever they start to meet up. And typically, Professor Mineo will be there as well to help guide you guys.
Cool.
Anything else besides that? Am I missing anything?
Otherwise, I'll just spend time, out in like the library or the cafe, getting ahead on my reading for classes, kind of observing people as well. And I'm out in the public spaces, just people watching.
Nice. Yeah, you just spend some time out on campus, gathering some faces in your memory of some of the upperclassmen that are new to campus, getting used to some of the first years, and just kind of keeping an eye on places. Next, Lucian continues. I will let you guys know he, in his room, plays with his familiar, his Dragonhawk, Lune. They spend a lot of time sort of just practicing communicating with one another telepathically, being able to use her senses to sort of react to things in real time. He starts going through with like a couple of personal magical experiments in his room and in the North Tower, reading some books, testing some spells out that are a little bit beyond what he is used to casting at this point. And he does just a lot of studying, a lot of reading. Gwen.
Yeah.
With your arrow broken, that sort of inspires you to go do some fletching, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would probably know that the best place to go for that would be the Parkins building, which is like the artificer area. They have like the forge on campus and like a whole tinkering workshop. You swing by there one day and a wonderful, eccentric little fellow named Thatch happily brings you into the building as he's like doing homework in there and tinkering with things. He brings you down to the forge and he says that the professors are totally fine if you want to use it. What does that process look like as you're sort of remaking some of the arrows? And this is something that you've definitely known how to do for a while. But maybe what does that physically look like, and what does that look like in Gwen's head?
Well, I don't know that much about it in real life, so I'm just gonna kind of guess.
I'll re-ask that part. Is there anything special that Gwen does with her arrows? And then obviously, what is she thinking as she does it?
Yeah. He kind of just, I guess, cuts the like actual fletching itself of the arrow in like a special way that her dad taught her how to do growing up. And it's like a little bit different than what you would usually see on an arrow.
Sure. And how does she feel? What is she thinking?
She's just kind of thinking about her family, I guess, as she does it.
Nice. I like it. Some good memories.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that you do throughout the week in some of your downtime?
Either go to like the cafe and just kind of like hang out, or talk to Beatrice's group. I think like Thatch also sometimes hangs out with Beatrice from what she said in like the first session.
I'll let you know that actually you not only recognize Thatch, but you probably catch them at another time. Their full group consists of Thatch and Beatrice, the goth elf girl Cilia, Sivik, who was that dude with like the wavy blonde hair, his friend Denny, who is the owl, and Kada, who you know is close to Rosaris. So at one point you end up hanging out with all of them as they're sort of talking and strategizing about their challenge, thinking about what it could be.
All right. I would also tell Delphina about the squirrel that I saw.
You tell her about it, and she's like, that's the one. It literally chased me around campus and hit me in the head with nuts for like an hour.
I could show you where I found him.
Please. You take her out to the woods. He's not there right now, but she knows, and she's like, I'm going to stake this area out, and I'm going to wait here. And she like climbs up in a tree with Vision on the other one, sits there with a dagger in hand, and she's like, I got this.
All right, let me know if you need any help.
She gives you a thumbs up, and she is locked in.
That's about it.
Yeah, that sounds like a good rest of the week for Gwen. And then, last but certainly, maybe not least, Leo. As far as I know, you got some more practice, some more reading. You're gonna hang out with Lucilda a bit more, maybe hang around in the sort of the like the sparring room, the training hall in the West Wing. Practicing some healing magic and that sort of stuff. Anything else that you do between then and Friday?
No, not really. That's exactly all I'm going to do.
Sick. Yeah, you and Lucilda spend a bit more time together. And again, you guys like knew of each other before, but this is the first time you guys have ever really had any conversations. So it's almost like you're getting to know someone new, but with that same sense of familiarity. It's kind of hard to describe.
Nice.
The week flies by. Again, the campus is busy and bustling. The upperclassmen are all like super excited to be back. They're all talking about what they did over the summer. Classes feel more chaotic with more people walking through the halls. And Magum, or Friday, rolls around. We are halfway through the month of Loris at this point. Everyone joins up in the classroom for homeroom. Again, you got Kada, Beatrice, Thatch in that party. You have Barry, Lucilda, Delphina, and Balon with a couple other people in their party, all in here. And Professor Ranth, as you guys are coming in, takes note of who's all in the class, making sure everybody's there. And then when everybody's there, sort of begins class and says, all right, so we have your challenges set out for this. I'm going to go ahead and split you guys up into your parties if you guys will, navigate seats and everything. And you guys who probably sat away from each other, maybe not sitting beside each other, but just sort of sectioned off. She starts by saying, Kada, Beatrice, Cilia, Sivik, Denny, Thatch, for you guys, your challenge is going to be using some of that high IQ that you guys have in a quick, fast-timed event out in the main academy building. We got some upperclassmen who are going to have a flag up in the North Tower, and you will have a set amount of time to retrieve it and bring it back by any means necessary. They will fight back, and it will not be easy. Next up, Barry, Lucilda, Talon, Delphina, Roselli, Okadani, said the full name, Balon, Leofric, and Simon. You guys, you're an excellent party. You're diverse. You got various strengths. But what happens when you're all separated into tiny, tiny groups? We got some upperclassmen who are going to volunteer to spar with you guys. You guys are going to go in groups of 2 and 3, and we're going to randomly reorient you and see how you guys can learn how to work together without your entire party there. And she looks over at you guys who are all like spread out in that section of the classroom that you're taking up. Lucian, Rosaris, Kieran, Gwen, Athera, Leo, Marcel.
Yes.
We got something special for you guys.
All right.
You know teamwork is necessary, right?
No.
I do.
Well, you're gonna find out really soon. Anyway, Kata, your group to the North Tower. Go meet up with the third years there. They will give you the challenge. Barry, your group, go to Rorsch Plaza. There, you guys are gonna meet up with some third years out there, and then Kieran, you and your group are going to come with me. We're going to go actually to Loomis Plaza, and we're going to meet Professor Barron out there.
You heard that, group? Let's go, my group.
Everybody starts shuffling out, and she says, best of luck to all of you. Don't die. And she shuts her class door, following you guys.